If you like this video, please click on the like button. Comment with the names of the movies you would like us to cover next. Click the subscribe button and press the bell icon to get notified of our latest creations. We cover 100 movies from around the world every day. To advertise with our channel, reach out to us. Our contact information is on our channel page. Now, let's move to the plot of this movie.
Pi comes from an upper-middle-class Thai family that adheres to traditional thought and customs, including the very vocal disapproval of homosexuality. Kim, on the other hand, carries herself with deliberate masculinity that defies convention and intimidates Pi upon first encounter, so much so that she immediately requests a roommate change, which the college promptly denies. Pi is reluctant to converse or interact with her roommate, so she takes tape and draws boundaries in the room to separate her space from Kim's to avoid as much contact as possible. On the first day of class, Kim by chance meets Jane, who is seen still crying after her breakup. Kim offers her a handkerchief and Jane immediately gets smitten by her. Later that week, Jane walks into Pi and Kim's room and is embarrassed and shocked to see Kim. She immediately walks out, then comes back in and drags Pi out in the hallway. Jane confesses that Kim is the girl she has fallen for and uses Pi to get an introduction and thus begins her chase for Kim. Despite how hard Pi tries to ignore or discourage Kim, the two begin to intermingle when Kim cooks and shares with Pi, and the two have a short conversation together. One day Kim receives a package from her father's worker and is told to deliver to Aunt In. She asks Pi to help her get there, but Pi hurriedly turns her down and gives her fast directions. Before walking away, nighttime falls and Kim is seen sitting near a lake. Completely lost, Pi finds her and offers her to take her to Aunt In, but only as a thank you for the food. That starts a series of moments where the two begin to spend increasingly more time together, and soon those boundary lines disappear and Pi finds herself drifting away from her then boyfriend to Kim. The two share many sweet moments, most notably when Kim took Pi to the park to help her record information for school. The two share a lollipop and Kim, in a roundabout way, confesses her attraction to Pi. The latter does not reply, but she is seen smiling. But as Pi's feelings grow, so do those of Jane for Kim, and of Pivan for Pi, because Pi has yet to accept that she may have feelings for Kim, and Kim is reluctant to confess. This triggers mutual jealousy and sadness. When Pivan unexpectedly pops up at the school to take Pi out, she tries to turn him down, but Jane comes along and invites herself and forces Kim and Pi to accept his offer. During their time together, Pi gets visibly upset at how close Jane is to Kim and tries various times to either make Kim jealous or have them spend time alone. After a failed attempt, she and Jane leave for a moment where Pivan talks about Pi's mother and her heavy dislike of homosexuals. He then goes on to say that Kim needs to leave Pi alone because Pi does not like her like that, nor will she ever, and then taunts Kim by saying Pi would want the real thing versus silicone, referring to sex. Angry, Kim storms off. When Pi and Jane return, they ask for Kim, but Pivan says he doesn't know what happened. Pi calls Kim several times throughout the time period and looks all over the mall for her. Eventually she is seen at the dorm with an angry expression. Kim walks in with her hands full of bags. Pi begins to yell at her for leaving and Kim yells back that she had Pivan anyway, so it did not matter. Pi then yells at Kim for being too close to Jane, but rather than announce it was jealousy, says she was disgusted by two girls together. This prompts Kim to dump her bags and leave the room. Regretful, Pi looks through the bags and finds a jellyfish lamp. Something she told Kim she had wanted. She then grabs an umbrella and runs to find Kim. Eventually she finds Kim in a phone booth, soaking wet and shivering. Upon finding her, Kim declares her love for Pi and that she knows though Pi will never love her, she will do so. Pi then drops the umbrella and embraces Kim. Quote, "After the confession, the two have their first kiss and begin a relationship together. Unbeknownst to anyone, the happiness is short-lived though as Pi's mother drops by the dorm. In a rush, Pi tells her mother to go use the restroom while she takes down photos of herself and Kim. Soon after, Pi and her mother sit on the bed and chat. Kim, not knowing Pi's mother is there, walks into the room. Surprised, Kim realizes the situation and pretends to be a student from down the hall asking for her book back from Pi. Confused and scared, Pi quickly fumbles for some books and gives them to Kim with a "thank you." When Kim leaves, she leaves the door ajar and listens to the nasty comments Pi's mother makes about her. She begins to cry and walks away. Single quote. Shortly after, Kim gets sick. Pi takes care of her but soon has to leave for class. To make sure Kim gets some rest, she gives her some medicine and puts a blindfold over her eyes. Jane learns that Kim is sick and stops to make a visit. She lays next to Kim and begins to massage her. Eventually Pi comes back to the dorm to find Kim and Jane in a romantic position, rubbing and cradling each other. Jane hurriedly gets up and Kim takes off her blindfold, realizing that it was Jane that she was with the entire time. She rushes to explain but Pi begins to cry and throws a glass jellyfish lamp Kim had bought her on the floor and runs out of the room. Kim tries to go after her but Jane holds onto her, demanding she stays and what is it she and Pi are hiding. Single quote. Kim races around the campus, going to all the spots she and Pi would always go to and constantly calling her cell phone but gets sent to voicemail and does not find her. She eventually ends up at Aunt In, who tries to find out what's wrong but Kim receives a phone call from Jane crying for an explanation and threatening to expose Pi and Kim's relationship. After Jane hangs up the phone, she takes out a blade, ready to cut herself. But Nerd shows up and smacks her. Kim runs back to the dorm and finds Jane, telling her that she only wanted a friendship with her and that she loves Pi. Eventually the two get to a mutual understanding. Later, you see that Pi has gone home to her mother and is crying in bed. Her mother, who doesn't know what's going on, is worried that Pi has been crying for so long. After Pi settles down, she asks her mother would she be mad if she didn't love Pivan. Her mother responds that she does not care if Pi doesn't love him. Pi then asks her mother what if she liked someone of the same sex. Her mother does not respond but is seen with a shocked expression. Kim finds her way to Pi's home days later and speaks to the mother, confessing how she feels for Pi. The mother rejects her and calls down Pi to either accept Kim or not. Pi is too scared and rejects Kim in front of her mother. Heartbroken, Kim leaves the house. Quote, Kim goes back home to her father and works on the farm. After a few weeks, Pi is seen going to the farm and meets Kim's father. After a short introduction, he tells her where Kim is and she rushes to her. As soon as she spots Kim, she begins to confess her feelings and states that she will openly go against her mother and that she needs Kim in her life. When Kim does not answer, Pi apologizes saying, "I was too late," and turns to leave crying. Kim stops her with a back hug and thanks Pi for daring to love her. The two then embrace each other in a longing hug with Pi's voice reading off a letter she had left to her mother stating she is sorry but she loves Kim and will continue a relationship with her. Single quote.